The envelope was sitting on my vanity when I walked into the bridal suite. White. Elegant. Laced with malice. I opened it with steady fingers, even though I already knew the handwriting. Inside, one line. Let's see how you face the guests when we won't be appearing at your wedding. And below the ink, a ticket stub to Paris. 2 seats. My parents' names printed clean. Their departure time, the same hour as my vows. They didn't come to destroy me in silence. They wanted me humiliated, publicly abandoned. But what they didn't know, what they never bothered to ask, was who I was really marrying. It wasn't always like this. Once, I thought their cruelty was discipline, their silence, protection. As a child, I waited at school gates long after the other parents had driven away. Birthdays passed with gifts forgotten in the mail. Praise was reserved for my brother, the chosen one, the golden son. He could fail and still be celebrated. I could win and still be invisible. Still, I carried hope. Hope that one day they'd look at me and see more than a burden. Hope that maybe, just maybe, I could earn their love. But by the time I found the envelope, hope had already rotted away. I saw the signs weeks before. Their clipped whispers over dinner. My mother's satisfied smirk when she asked about the wedding budget. My father's sudden interest in travel opportunities. And then, the hotel clerk who mistakenly emailed me their reservation confirmation. Paris, luxury suite, departure on my wedding day. That's when I knew. They weren't just skipping. They were making a statement. We'd rather sip wine under the Eiffel Tower than stand beside our daughter. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I planned. You see, revenge doesn't always require blood. Sometimes, it just needs patience. I kept silent, played dumb, and smiled when they spoke of being busy that weekend. I let them believe they had set the trap, that I would walk down the aisle alone, drowning in pity. But behind that silence, I was weaving my own net. My fiancé's family, wealthy, connected, powerful in ways my parents could never touch. They had no idea their daughter was about to marry into a dynasty that owned entire skylines. And I made sure the wedding wasn't just an event. It was a spectacle. Televised, streamed, covered by magazines that my mother used to cut recipes from and dream about being featured in. They wanted me humiliated? I'd make them watch me crowned instead. The day came. Cameras lined the aisle. Journalists whispered into microphones. Guests glided in wearing designer suits and gowns, each one a dagger pointed at my parents' absence. I walked through those doors in silence, veil trailing behind me like a storm. The music swelled. The world watched. And for the first time in my life, I was the center. Not an afterthought. Not a shadow. The center. Meanwhile, they were boarding a plane, smug and satisfied, imagining my humiliation. But mid-flight, when the in-seat TVs lit up, guess what they saw? Me, broadcast live across national channels. My face, my vows, my new family. A $1 million wedding unfolding in glittering detail. And them, empty chairs where their names should have been. By the time I walked out of that ceremony with a ring on my hand and the press at my back, my phone buzzed with 65 missed calls. My parents, my brother, over and over, their names flashing across the screen. I didn't answer, not one. They wanted to see me suffer. Instead, they watched me ascend. Days later, I found out they cut their Paris trip short. Couldn't bear the shame, the whispers, the questions. They came crawling back, masks of concern plastered on their faces. But I had already learned the truth. They didn't want me happy. They wanted me dependent, begging. I never gave them that satisfaction. They came to my new home once, uninvited. Guards turned them away. They left notes. I burned them. Now they live with their silence. The same silence they forced on me all my life. Except this time, it isn't my prison, it's theirs. I think back to that envelope often, the arrogance of it, the cruelty, how they thought it would break me. But they forgot one thing. I don't break. I build. I wait. And when the time comes, I make sure my revenge is permanent. They'll never erase the image burned into their memories. Their daughter, radiant, celebrated, televised for the world to see, while they sat anonymous on a plane, running away from the very life they tried to deny me. So yes, I ignored those 65 calls. I'll ignore the next 65 and every call after that, because my silence is louder than anything I could ever say. And in that silence, they finally hear the truth. They lost me. Forever.